everybody, let's look at today's warm-up. So Mark runs 1/4 of a mile. John runs 3/8 of a mile. Which shows a correct comparison of these fractions? Remember that word comparison. We're just looking at how they are different or how they're even the same, so comparing them. So thinking about what you know about 1/4 and what you know about 3/8. There's a few things that I know. So I know they're partitioned differently. They've got different denominators, right? So we're comparing different denominators. I know when I think about fourths and I think about 1/4, if I were to put that on a number line, thinking about that, I partition it into groups of 4. Well, 1/4 would be kind of close, really close to 0. It'd be closer to 0 than it would be to half or even 1/2. Okay? And thinking about 3/8. Well, if I'm an 8, I know that 3 is close to half because thinking about 8s, what's half of 8? Well, half of 8 is 4. So if this is broken into 8s and I have 4/8 as half, well, 3/8 would be close, okay? So 1/4 is close to 0, 3/8 is close to half, okay? So I know that. And I also know something about fourths and eighths, but let's go ahead and draw this. So I've got the first mile, and it's partitioned into fourths. So we're going to do that. I want you to draw that out, and I want you to shade in 1/4. Okay. So there's 1/4. How can I partition into 8s? Well, I know that I can make 8s with 4. It's just double. So I'm going to partition this now into 8s. Okay, so there is my 1/4, and it is how many 8s? Right, it's 2 out of these 8, and I need to do 3/8. So we're going to go ahead and shade it in. So thinking through that, which was more, 1/4 or 3/8? Yeah, that 3/8 is worth more, okay? So let's look at our comparisons. 1/4 is the same as 3/8. Well, we found that 1/4 was the same as 2/8, so that doesn't work. 3/8, looking at your symbol, is greater than 1/4. 3/8 was greater than 1/4. 3/8, what does that symbol represent? Less than 1/4. We know that 3/8 isn't less than 1/4. Okay, so the next one, 1/4 is greater than 3/8. 1/4 was greater than 3/8. Nope. My best answer choice is B, that 3/8 is greater than 1/4. Okay? All right, let's look at our graph for today. It shows how many plate lunches the school cafeteria prepared for each third grade teacher's class on Wednesday. So it looks like we've got a few teachers here, and I need to look for my key. Anytime we've got a graph, I want to look for that key. And this key tells me that every plate, so these circles right here are plates, every plate represents 7. Okay? How many more plate lunches were needed for Mr. Cohen's class than were needed for Mr. Gomez's class? Okay. So I've got a lot of information here. I know that each one's worth 7. We're comparing 2 people, Mr. Cohen's class and Mr. Gomez's class. So we're going to focus on those 2. So let's start, let's look at Mr. Gomez's class. How many plates does he have here? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And what did we say each plate was worth? They're each worth 7. So 7, 7, 7, 7, 7. I have 6 groups of 7. Okay, 6 times 7. I want you to pause and solve that. Come back when you're ready. Okay, so if I've got 6 groups of 7, I have 42. All right? So now let's look at Mr. Cohen's class, because that was the other person we need to compare. He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 plates. And each plate is worth how much? 9 groups of 7. Okay, pause and solve that. You know it needs to be greater than 42 because 6 groups of 7 was 42. So 9 groups is going to be greater. My total is 63. Okay, so now let's look at our question. How many more are needed for Mr. Cohen's class than Mr. Gomez's class? What could I do? I need to take my two amounts. I need to take Mr. Cohen's class, and I want to subtract Mr. Gomez's class. I want to know how many more were needed in Mr. Cohen's class. So when I subtract, what do I get? 3 take 2 away, leaves me with 1. 6 minus 4 equals 1. Or 2, excuse me. So thinking about this, I have 21. I have 21 more lunches that were needed in Mr. Cohen's class than Mr. Gomez's class. And a way to check that is thinking about how many more plates. This one had 6 plates, and this class had 9. What's the difference between 9 and 6? It's a difference of 3, right? There were 3 more plates here than here. 1, 2, and 3. Each plate was worth how much? 7. What is 3 times 7? I know that 7 times 2 is 14. And if I add another group of 7, I get 21. So those match. So my answer is 21. Great job today, guys.